Hi, my name is Richard Dunn. I'm the Executive Director for the Center. And if you've been following through the book so far, you've gone through 9 units at this point, and now we're on unit 10, and it's called Getting Banked. I hope you have one of the Faith and Finance Participants book. If you don't, you need one. Get back with us, and you need to be working through these sessions with the book. Because what I want to do right now is just take you very quickly through unit 10, because it's so important, because it talks about banks and maybe some things you struggle to understand about banks sometimes. So if you will, take your book, turn to page 112, and at the very top there, you will see a box that says credit and debit. Take just a moment, pause this video, take just a second and read through that and see the difference between credit and debt. Pause your video. All right, so hopefully you got to read through those, and now that you are back. If you look at the bottom, I like what it says there about common beliefs about banks, because again, most of these are myths and they're untrue, okay? You have to be rich to use a bank. Not true. Listen, I'm the least rich person you will know, and we've been banking all of our life. Banks charge you fees every time you use your debit card. Sometimes they do, but not every single time. Going to the bank takes up a lot of time. Not usually. Most banks are pretty quick and efficient. Banks exist to make a profit. They do. That's what they do. They do make a profit, but that's not why they exist. They exist to help you. Bank charges $30 every time you overdraw your account. There could be some fees, but you talk with your bank, you figure those things out. Communication is important. If the bank is robbed, you'll lose your money. That is just untrue. And banks will take away your house. Again, not true. Look over on page 113. Can I read through? We have our Eva and Isaac. I love these two people. They're so common and like you and I, and they deal with the same struggles we do. Let's just read through their story just real quick. Just follow along as I read. Isaac and Eva set aside a special time each week to discuss their finances. They laughed as they compared financial histories. Not only were they both born the same month, but they both remember being given $100 for a birthday their senior year of high school. However, they had very different experiences in saving it. Eva wanted to protect her money, but didn't like or understand banks. They charged $30 once for using her debit card, She was afraid to lose her money, so she hid it at home. Isaac wanted to save his money too, but he wanted it to grow. He decided to put his money in East Side Credit Union. He talked to Pop, his grandfather, who showed him how to open a long-term savings account with Rich, the account manager. The credit union required that the deposit stay in there for at least a year, and it paid interest of 5% per year, or $5 for 1 year. After 3 months, Isaac stopped to see Rich and asked how his deposit was going. His $100 had grown to $101.23. Not much, but a little bit, right? Eva, too, checked her hiding place to make sure her money was still there, but she only found $92. Someone had taken $8. When she asked her family, her brother Charles admitted to borrowing some of the money to buy some groceries. Eva, she was outraged. She chased him out of the house and divided the rest of her savings up and hid small portions of all amounts in different hiding places around the house so her family wouldn't find it. The next 3 months were summer. Isaac joined Pop in his lawn care business. At their credit union, Rich informed them that since they both, Isaac and Pop, had savings account with positive balances, they qualified for a $200 loan. They used this loan to purchase another good quality mower and started mowing just lots of yards. During the same period, a neighborhood kid named Candy knocked on Eva's door. This happens all the time, doesn't it? Eva used some of her money to purchase some chocolate from her. Although Eva had intended to save her money, she couldn't resist the poor child, and plus it was for a good cause. And it was only $5. At the end of the period, Isaac had $102.47 in his savings account, but he owed $160 in loan payments. Eva still had $87 hidden in different places around the house. During the next quarter, Eastside Credit Union was held up by Rob, the bank robber. One day, he entered with a gun and left with all the cash. When Isaac heard the news, he mourned. He thought he'd lost all his savings. But Rich explained to him how banks and credit unions have deposited money insurance. So they recovered all the money that was stolen. Rich showed him how his balance at the end of the quarter had grown to $103.73. His lawn business, was Pop was making such a steady income, they paid off the $200 in full. Isaac was pleased. Meanwhile, Eva still had $87 in her mattress account. A few months after Isaac's credit union was robbed, the bank robber broke into Eva's house while she was at work. The thief found $25 she had hidden in the pot. Be better save it, pay his ball. Fortunately, he didn't find all of her money, but it was left with only $62. Isaac, on the other hand, still had his savings in the credit union, and he now owned a nice mower. At the end of the year, Isaac's $100 had grown to $105, and Eva's $100 had become $62. If you look there, you'll see a chart that kind of makes that visual. So do me a favor real quick. You'll see some questions at the bottom. What key steps did Isaac take to grow his money? What mistakes did Eva make in trying to protect her money? Take a moment, pause the video, and answer those questions. Okay, so we're back. So hopefully you answered those and you understand that Isaac did the best he could. It wasn't a lot, okay, but he did earn some money based on being trustworthy and understanding how banks work. Unfortunately, Eva struggled with that a little bit. She didn't trust the banks and didn't know quite what to do. And since she had that cash in hand, it made it so much easier to spend when she wanted to, or to lose it to family and or friends. Look on page 115, opening a bank account. It's easier than you think. How much money do I need to open a bank account? You just need some money. Different banks are different ways, but normally it's a small amount that'll get you in. What is the minimum balance I must maintain? Really, again, that changes per bank, but it's going to be pretty easy. They'll tell you what to do with that. With this account, what does the bank charge fees for? You just got to ask them, okay? How can I avoid paying these fees? Once again, you got to talk to them. You've got to realize that communication is important. Banks aren't evil. They are your friends. They will help you, and they will make sure you understand what is going on. What are overdraft options? Are there fees? How to opt out? Again, you got to talk. When are my deposits available made to me? Is there a cutoff time for deposits to be credited that day? There are, but you've got to know what those are. Just talk to them. They'll explain them to you. They don't change. You'll know what to do with that. How long do you typically hold funds on a check that was deposited? Again, they'll explain that to you. What do you need? What do you need to walk in with to make sure you can get an account open? Number one, some documents, state-issued ID card, passport, social security card, or birth certificates. Usually any of the two will take care of that. And they need some proof of physical address. This could be anything. It could be a utility bill or something with your name and address on that. The very bottom of that page there, 115, you see an example of what a deposit slip looks like. It's very simple to fill out. You fill that thing out, you put the cash you're putting in. If you maybe have some checks, you put those on there. You have your account number, which is your number, and you'll be able to get that deposited quickly. Hey, listen. I know sometimes banking can be scary. Maybe you think that's not something you want to deal with, but we encourage you. It is a good option. The other lessons we're going to talk about is taking out loans. And sometimes we take out loans from people that really aren't the people we want to be taking out loans from. Banks are trustworthy, okay? You have to just understand how to put your trust in that so you can let them help you. And the key thing is when you go in, sit down and just ask all the questions. And listen, here's what you do. Here's what you do. Take your book with you and say, these are the questions I have. How do I know my money is safe in my checking account, my savings account? How do I know that? They'll walk it through. They'll answer your questions. I promise, banks are not your enemy. Get banked. Thank you.